Hello, elves! My name is Chance, welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 11th episode of our Elven Subrace series. Today we're going to be going over the Wood Elf, and this should, at least currently, be the final episode of the Elf series. I debated going through the Valnir elves, although they are just simple reskins of the High Elf and the Wood Elf anyways, so the lore's cool behind them, but mechanically there are no differences, so I don't really see a point in diving into them. In any case, today we're going to be covering the Wood Elf, which was one of the most popular choices out of the player's handbook, especially for any stealth-based characters. Before we dive into its traits, however, I just want to recommend that you check out the full elf playlist so you know exactly what your options are and exactly what you're getting with the elf in whole. We're really just going to be covering the subrace options in this video, so at the very least watch the full elf video so you know everything you get. You can do so by either clicking on the little eye icon in the top there and then selecting the playlist from the drop-down menu, or waiting until the end of the video and selecting it from one of the end cards. In any case, let's dive right into the Wood Elf's traits. Right out of the gate, the Wood Elf gets an ability score increase of +1 to your Wisdom, which is pretty good, especially if you're planning on playing a Cleric or a Druid. You also get Fleet of Foot, which increases your walking speed by 5 to 35 feet, which is quite nice in terms of mobility. Mask of the Wild, however, is really their core feature. You can attempt to hide even when you are only lightly obscured. There are, however, some caveats to this. It lists the terrains in which you are lightly obscured, so it says foliage, heavy rain, falling snow, mist, or other natural phenomena. What this implies is you don't really get this benefit in urban environments, only in more kind of natural settings are you able to do this. I don't necessarily know if I like that too much. Most dungeon masters allow you to hide lightly obscured pretty much anywhere, but rules as written, it has to be in a natural environment for you to take advantage of Mask of the Wild. That being said, however, most dungeon masters aren't super familiar with how sneaking works in 5e anyways, so they'll probably let you get away with it, but just worth having that conversation. They'll also gain elf weapon training, which gives them proficiency with the longsword, short bow, and the longbow. This is a great way of providing range to your character if they might not otherwise have it. This is particularly beneficial if you're a little bit squishier. That being said, most stealth-based classes already have proficiency with all these, so you might not necessarily gain a lot from it in that regard. If you're a druid, at least for your early couple levels, you're likely going to spend a lot of it wild-shaped, so I don't know how useful this is necessarily. However, with certain builds, I have no doubt that this could be useful. Now let's move on to my personal thoughts. This is a pretty simple subrace, which is understandable as it's found in the player's handbook. I want to say it's been kind of overshadowed by just the sheer amount of elven subraces in the game. Once again, this is our 11th episode of the subrace series, so there's 10 other options that may or may not suit your build a little bit better, especially with the marked elf being already super stealthy and providing you with a lot more mechanical benefits than the wood elf does. I feel like most people are just going to go with that. That being said, however, if you are playing in a game where the Dungeon Master doesn't allow the marked races, then the Wood Elf becomes significantly more valuable. That being said, however, it's still a fine choice. +1 to Wisdom is nice, even if you're not a Wisdom-based caster. Wisdom is some of the cooler skills in the game, like medicine checks, for example. In addition to that, the Wood Elf just has a ton of great flavor to them, and Mask of the Wilds is a pretty cool concept, and if your Dungeon Master is a little bit lenient, it could become a really good feature for you. It's a short video today, but that's just because there's not a lot to cover. However, I am really looking forward to covering the gnome. After this, the gnome's relatively short, doesn't have a ton of subraces, but the half-elf has an ungodly amount, so that'll probably take a while. But after that, it's pretty much smooth sailing for the most part until you hit the tiefling, and then it should be pretty quick to get all of them done. So I'm really happy with this series in general. Let me know what you guys think down beneath, of course. That being said, if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas, or even stories about the Wood Elf, be sure to let me know down beneath in the comment section. And if you'd like a free one-shot written by yours truly, feel free to check out the guild hall and just use code WELCOME to get yours for free. That being said, I hope you all have a great day, and as always, happy adventuring.